You know, there's something to be said about handheld gaming that really hasn't been duplicated by modern consoles. Even for stuff like the Switch and the Switch 2, which are hybrid consoles, their primary gameplay feature isn't just the ultra portability of the console. What's going on, everybody? I'm Jay. Welcome to Square Pegs. Today I want to talk to you about the original DMG, and there's something really important about this console. This was a gift to me from my friend Retro Rob. He's just Rob now. If you don't know who Rob is, he used to have a channel here on YouTube. He ran it kind of as a social experiment and did really well. He decided to retire, and I met up with Rob last year at the Southeast Game Exchange, and he gifted me this as well as one of the games we're going to feature on here. Now, this original DMG Game Boy was something that was kind of a touchstone for me. It was one of those unexpected bolts from the blue, I guess, for lack of a better term. And apologies for the hair kind of flying around over here. It's really flippin' hot in Michigan right now, and I've got a big fan going. It's something where, while I liked gaming, and the NES was my first time that I really considered this a hobby and not just something that I enjoyed doing, it wasn't until I got my Game Boy that I really found myself and I really discovered my love for handheld gaming. Today I want to go back to that original Game Boy. I want to look at games on the Game Boy that I think are still worth playing today in 2025. I keep playing them today, in fact, in 2025. We're going to kick things off right now with something that I think is a good bit of advice for folks whenever they're collecting for a particular console that's region-free. Don't be afraid of foreign language games. Today we're looking at Rockman World 2, which is significantly cheaper than Mega Man 2 here in the States. I will admit up front that Rockman World 2 is the weakest of the Rockman World or Mega Man Roman numeral games that were released on the Game Boy. That's actually really interesting. It was developed by a team that wasn't familiar with the concept. Capcom just kind of outsourced it and then realized the error of their ways and course corrected from there going forward. But I still enjoy it. Like, it's still a game that I can get into and play and have fun with. Is it the smoothest game in the series? No, not by any stretch of the imagination is it the smoothest game, but I do think it is still fun. It still has that core Mega Man experience. It still feels like a Mega Man game, albeit a hastily assembled Mega Man game. It's the mighty number 9 of Mega Man games, which is still redeemable. It's just not as high quality as other ones in the series. But when I was younger, Mega Man 2 was something that I loved, and it was something that I still enjoyed on the Game Boy, and it's something that I can look at today and still have fun with. And when I mentioned that buying it using the Rockman World series instead of the Mega Man Roman numeral series is the way to go, just look at this example. For price charting, the Mega Man 2 game is loose for $20. The Rockman World 2 game is loose for $10. And that value space only grows the further into the series you get, where they're significantly less expensive in Japan as opposed to the US releases. But let me know, what's your favorite Game Boy Mega Man game? Tell me in the comments. Spoilers, there's going to be a slight Wario theme going forward in this video. This is Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins. This is a game that introduced Wario as kind of the antagonist to Mario, the anti-Mario, if you will. And this game was one that I absolutely loved when I was younger. I liked the original Super Mario Land, but I didn't think it was great. It was a little too far of a departure from what I was used to with the Super Mario Brothers games on the original NES to really get into. Like the bouncy ball thing, I didn't enjoy that mechanic. I don't know. It just never clicked for me. Like, I can play it today and appreciate it, but again, it's not something I love. But Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins was close enough to games that I was familiar with and I enjoyed on the NES with the Super Mario Brothers 3 that I really loved this one. First off, it had all of the familiar power-ups that I was used to, and it introduced the bunny suit, which I thought was great. That gave you something new where you're able to kind of flutter fall using your ears if you jumped up higher and higher. And then you were able to use the overworld map to go into different levels. I think there was 30-something, 35, 36 levels or something like that in the game. And as you went through, if you got all of the 6 golden coins, it would unlock the palace in the middle, and then you fought Wario. I really love this one. I think it's a solid game. It's incredibly well designed. Really cool game. Legit, I think this is the greatest packing game ever. The only thing that comes kind of close is Wii Sports, and there's nothing that's ever going to touch Tetris. It is so good. It is still 100% quality to this day. It is still a fantastic game. The design is impeccable. It is one of the greatest designed video games of all time. The music is even wonderful. The gameplay is simple and easy to understand. This was a game that bridged generation gaps. It was something that I just think will never be appreciated enough, despite the fact that it is so ridiculously appreciated by basically the entire gaming landscape. It's a nearly perfect game, and if it isn't perfect, there are such minor quibbles to knock it down that that's the only thing that would keep it from attaining perfection. This is still to this day my most played Game Boy game, and will probably always be my most played Game Boy game because it's that damn good. It took me a really long time to come around on the Kirby series. I was just never a fan. It was never a character that I really got into. I didn't enjoy the games when I was younger. I tried them and just didn't have fun with it. I don't know why. Maybe it was just me not wanting to enjoy the color pink or something like that. I was bound and determined to not like the Kirby games. It wasn't until I did my Kirby ranking video a couple of years ago, link on screen right now, if you want to take a look at that, where I really started to enjoy and appreciate and honestly kind of love the old Kirby games, and I kick myself for not playing more of them when I was younger. Now, any of the Kirby games on the original Game Boy are great, but we're going to go back to the original here with Kirby's Dream Land, because this is where it all started. This is where the entire franchise began. This gives you not every gameplay element that would become familiar to fans of the Kirby franchise going forward, but it gave you enough of them that you can really see where kind of the solid bones were built right here in Kirby's Dream Land. This game is magnificent. It is incredibly fun to play. It is getting a little bit pricey, so if you are able to play this on the Switch Online service, I think it's there, or finding it through other means, do so if you don't have the money to spend, because if you haven't played it, you owe it to yourself to do so. I remember when I saw Gargoyle's Quest when I was younger, I could not understand why I was able to play as that pain-in-the-ass character from Ghosts and Goblins that always killed me on the NES release. And I wasn't really jazzed about trying it out, but this is one that people that I knew who played it when I was younger and seeing it in Nintendo Power said this game was incredible. And when I finally got a chance to play it, I was absolutely blown away by this game. There are two different gameplay styles in this game. There's a top-down kind of world exploration quasi-RPG mode, and then there is the platforming level where you have some really, really incredible gameplay elements at play here. There's the ability to cling to walls. There's the ability to fly or kind of float, which you are able to kind of increase in time the further into the game you go, and you're able to fire projectiles at your enemies. And the gameplay is challenging. It's a really nice kind of addition to the Ghosts and Goblins mythos, and this actually made me appreciate the NES release a little bit more. Notice I said appreciate and not like, because I will never like the NES Ghosts and Goblins. But I do love Gargoyle's Quest, and this is the game that made me love Firebrand as a character. This one is fantastic, and if you can play the sequel or prequel on the NES, it's worth checking out. Gargoyle's Quest 2 is even better than this one. As a big fan of the RC Pro-Am franchise, Super RC Pro-Am was something that I could not wait to get my hands on when it released on the Game Boy. And it is such a spectacular game because this is so true to the original NES release of RC Pro-Am and RC Pro-Am 2 that you're just familiar with it from jump. You know exactly what you need to do. The controls are identical. The gameplay is nearly identical. The only thing that's different is that it's on a smaller screen and you can put it in your pocket and take it with you. It's a brilliant racing game that, rather than going for something that was overly complex or trying to force feed things into a gameplay element, it gave you an accelerate button and a little bit of a drifting mechanic as you go around corners by giving you 8 points of movement on your car instead of 4. So you were able to kind of use physics a little bit to kind of like feather your way around corners and stuff like that. There were power-ups and weapons you were able to collect, awesome things that you could add onto your car that you would find on the track, and of course, you can never go wrong collecting tiles to spell Nintendo. This is such a fantastic game, such a wonderful entry in the RC Pro-Am franchise, and just such a cool experience to be able to stick it in your pocket and bring it with you on the go. It's time for a Stealth Mario game. That's right, Alleyway is, in sheer technicality, a Mario title, because Mario hops into the little paddle capsule thing that hits the ball left and right on the screen at the start of every level. I love that. I absolutely love that in some weird alternate dimension, Mario pilots a paddle. I just think that's great. Now, this is the game here that is responsible for my adoration of Brick Breaker games. I played this before I played Arkanoid on the NES, and that was really kind of my introduction to this entire concept. I might have played Breakout on a 2600 before that, but it's not sticking out of my head that I did. So I'm giving it to this one as the one that kind of started that love of Brick Breaker games. It's still one of my favorite genres today. And it's such a fun game. This is the type of game that is great to either sit down for a long car trip and play, or something that you can just kind of turn the Game Boy on, play a couple of levels, and then power off if you're going to a lunch break or something like that at work. It's a spectacular game. It is deceptively simple. Like, it is as basic can get. You just move back and forth and you bounce a ball back and forth, but there's physics at play here that are actually incredibly well done for this game, when it's basically just where on the paddle did you bounce the ball off of is going to determine the angle. So maybe physics isn't the right word, but it's fun. How's that? It's a really fun game, and I like the challenge it provides. I find it absolutely fascinating that the Wave Race franchise started on the Game Boy. Not on the N64, certainly not on the GameCube. Like, we all know that Blue Storm is a sequel to Wave Race 64. No, it started here on the OG Game Boy, which is why you're getting it in the green screen, because there's just something special about the cream spinach for this one, right? This game is amazing. If you like RC Pro-Am, or like Super RC Pro-Am featured earlier in this game, you're gonna love this one. It's a little bit choppier, it's a little bit less smooth than Super RC Pro-Am or other racing games that might be on the console, but for me, just the kind of novelty of being able to play a jet ski game that has jumps, that has boosts, that has like halfway decent physics for a console that doesn't have the processing power of modern consoles is really fun. I absolutely love this game. This is one that I didn't know about until a couple of years ago. I think I picked this up after a Korg's at a half-price books in Columbus, Ohio. I found it there and I was like, holy crap, I cannot believe this even exists. And I got it home and I played it and I absolutely loved the game. If you love Wave Race 64 or Wave Race Blue Storm, play this one. Start here. See how much the series has evolved. So this one is special to me because, as I mentioned in the intro, Retro Rob gave me my DMG Game Boy that I currently use, that I currently play. He modded it out to give it a brand new screen. It's an IPS screen, so it's beautiful to look at. I don't have to really worry so much about batteries dying every 5 minutes because the screen is sucking up all the power. It's a really solid little system. And with it, he gave me this game here, which is Batman, based on the 1988 Tim Burton film. And this one is really special to me because this was Rob's childhood copy he gave to me to just add to my collection. And I had never played it before he gave it to me. I had played Batman on the NES, but I had never played the Game Boy release, and I am blown away at how good it is. It's not a traditional Batman game. Like, you're shooting enemies. That's not really a thing Batman does, but it's a fun game, and it's a really well-designed game that does have a little bit of a flighty jumping mechanic, as you'll see me fall and die a couple of times as I'm playing through here. But I really enjoy this one. I think it is well-designed. I think it is a faithful... No, that's the wrong word. I think it is a fun interpretation of Tim Burton's Batman, and it's something that I cannot tell you how much I appreciate being added to my collection by Rob. Alright, here's the back half of that slight Wario theming for the rest of the video. This is Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3, and this is the first game where we got to have Wario as a protagonist. And also an antagonist, because, I mean, let's be honest, the dude's disgusting. He's a bit of an ass, but boy, is he fun to play as. This was the game that really brought Wario to the forefront. This is the one where you realize that greed can be good, and you were able to just kind of wreck shop and go through these different levels and collect the amazing power-ups that Wario was able to find, and grab as much money as you possibly could, because at the end of the day, that's what Wario is about, is getting rich. And eating garlic. I absolutely love this game. This is one of the few Game Boy games that when I started collecting retro games again, that I said, I need to get this complete in box. and I was able to kind of piecemeal it together, but I was never able to find a copy of the game at a convention for a reasonable price. It was something that was just always out of the price range, like loose, just ridiculous prices on these carts. And my buddy Thor came through for me and found me a copy up in Minneapolis and sent it down to me. And because of him, I now have my complete in box copy of this game. A treasure I will never, ever get rid of. And there we go, the games I am still playing on the original Game Boy in 2025. Now, I did one of these a few years back. I'll have that link on the card right now, as well as at the end of the video, where I looked at games that I was playing then. There's some really great ones on there, like Follow the Foot Clan, Motocross Maniac, stuff like that. But these are the ones that I'm still playing today, as well as those. Let me know in the comments down below, what Game Boy games are you still playing? Which ones do you think I need to take a look at that I haven't mentioned before? Which are your favorites? Hidden gems, obviously, stuff like that. I would love to hear from you. Until next time, folks, I've been Jay. Appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up. The engagement really helps the channel out. And if you really liked it, consider subscribing. I'd love to have you stick around. I do a couple videos a week looking at the best in retro and modern gaming, and we're on our way to 18,000 subs. I would love to get to 20K by the end of the year. Don't know how likely that is, but fingers crossed. If we can get there, that'd be amazing. But until next Monday, guys, remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.